Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coping Through Art, Yami Kawaii and Menhera Fashion, presented by me, Puvithel. Thanks for joining us today. So here I've got my lovely art by Bitterbat on our bottom. So cute. Oh, I forgot to clip it back on again. I've done this for 2 out of 3 panels this weekend. What have I done? All right, it's fine. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Coping Through Art, Yami Kawaii and Menhera Fashion, presented by me, Puvi. Thank you for joining me and my tech problems today. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. I updated a little bit yesterday, so it made it a little bit longer, hopefully not too long. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to address a bunch of common misconceptions people have about Menhera. So I'm going to take away all of the misconceptions and what you think Menhera is, and then we're going to build it back up with what Menhera actually is. So one common misconception I hear a lot of people say, oh, isn't it Menhera K? So this is not actually the case. While many fashions do have K, the suffix attached, Menhera does not. That is because this suffix is actually, it means like stereotypes of the preceding word or things associated with the preceding word. So fairy K is things associated with fairies or fairy tales. And it doesn't mean style or fashion. It usually is only used with English words. Like you don't typically use it with Japanese words, so sometimes you do. In the case of Menhera K, it means stereotypes of or things associated with Menhera. And unfortunately, due to the huge stigma mental health and chronic health issues have against them in Japan, Menhera K is typically used as an insult, and it's usually used in a sexist way. And it means like an over obsessive girlfriend, or it's used to kind of put down women when they're trying to complain about real issues. So you don't want to use Menhera K when you're talking about Menhera, the fashion, or anything. You just want to avoid that phrase if you can. So next common misconception I hear is a lot of people say, oh, I don't like Menhera because it's gory. And I hate this because it's not, Menhera is not gory. It usually does not feature gore. However, you see a lot of Gurokawa looks tagged improperly as Menhera or tagged as Menhera because the algorithms of social media are complete nonsense. And sometimes you just have to tag things willy-nilly to get them to go anywhere. So I have some sympathy for the mistaggers. But Menhera does not feature gore. Fake special effect makeup for gore effects is never Menhera. And while there might be gore in a Menhera print, the gore is there for a reason. And it is not there to be gory or to be shocking. It is still like less typical to see heavy gore in Menhera. One more misconception I hear a lot is that, oh, isn't Menhera only for the mentally and chronically ill? Menhera as a term in Japan encapsulates a lot more than mental health does here. Menhera as mental health, anything that causes you stress is included in that mental health definition. So that can be like, oh man, I'm really stressed out of my exams. It could just be like, oh, I am like the holidays are coming up and I don't know what to get my family for Christmas. All of these like standard stress causers still count. So anything that affects your mental well-being and how you're feeling and the mental well-being of those around you is a Menhera topic or issue. So to start, it's a much broader scope. Additionally, Menhera, since it's about bringing awareness and destigmatizing mental health and chronic health issues, you don't have to identify with Menhera or with a mental health or chronic health issue to wear Menhera, because you are still bringing awareness and opening discussion about whatever it is that you're wearing. So you can enjoy it for just the aesthetic. There's nothing wrong with that, and just be respectful of whatever topic you are working with. One of the funniest things I get with this question is it's not like you would think, oh, if someone's neurotypical, perfectly able is asking this question. No, 99% of the time, it is someone who actually has like a diagnosed mental health or chronic health issue, and they just feel like they're not sick enough for Menhera. That's such a sad thing to me because it's like, oh, but you have your issues and they are valid, and you didn't even need to have those issues to participate in the style. But just something funny. And then the last misconception I'm going to cover over here. Oh, no, wait, I have a second page of misconceptions. I forgot. Look at me. This is what happens when I edit at like the middle of the night. I hear a lot is Menhera is that drippy glitter makeup style. This is the Elf Guts popularized style. It is not Menhera. There is no such thing as Menhera makeup, which I will get into later, and it is definitely not drippy eye glitter. There's nothing wrong with wearing makeup like this. I think it's very fun. I wear it myself sometimes in kawaii fashion shows, but this is not Menhera or Menhera makeup. It's just kind of been mistagged and misattributed as such. So, second page of misconceptions. We have here a lovely kind of the anatomy of Menhera is drawn by F.Y. Menhera. This is an image you'll see a lot used in Menhera topics and videos if whoever is speaking has actually managed to research and find the good sources. And next to it, I have some more misconceptions I'm going to address. So when I hear a lot is, wow, Menhera is just this new trendy fashion and everybody's hopping onto it to gain popularity and money. And it's like, no, Menhera has been around for a very, very long time. It was born on the mental health board of 2chan. It was the Menhera board. Menhera and the Menhera board, that name was created from that community because they were previously known as the BPD board of 2chan, even though it was for all mental health and chronic, all of those issues were under that board. And they were obviously like, well, BPD doesn't really describe us or this board. So they came up with their own word, Menheru, which is from Menheru and Menhera, which come from the English mental health there, to self-describe. So that is a word that the community actually created for themselves to self-describe the whole community. Very cool stuff. If you're more interested in that etymology, F.Y. Menhera has an article up, I believe, under their FAQ section that goes into it very detailed, and even like, I don't know how they found this, but they have all this. They have some of the screenshots of where the name actually originated from. Pretty cool stuff. So last two common misconceptions. Isn't this using illness as a costume? And as I'm sure many Lolitas are aware of the of having to deal with people thinking you're dressed in a costume. No, Menhera is not dressing up as someone who is ill. It is not dressing up as someone sick or or wearing a nurse outfit. Menhera is clothing. It is a fashion. You are a person wearing clothes, and the clothes just happen to feature serious or dark topics. Or vent art. I should actually take out the cute motifs. It often features cute motifs, but it doesn't have to. And last one, I like Menhera, but it's out of my budget. So this one I always find kind of funny. I think this misconception comes about because people see Listen flavors, Menhera tops, and think that's all there is. And so they think you have to buy an $80 top and an $80 bottom to have a Menhera outfit. And that's not the case at all. All you need is vent art. So you get a shirt, you can DIY it, like get some fabric paint and just scribble on it like, oh my God, I hate everything. And put that shirt on and put some jeans on, and you've actually done it. You have a Menhera outfit. That was all you needed. You can also get a lot of cheap shirts on print-on-demand sites from Menhera artists, and it's secondhand. You can find stuff pretty cheap too, and you'd be surprised what will count as a Menhera top. If it is featuring a vent, something vent related, that's it. That's all you need. So actually, it's a very easy style to start out into. You don't have to have 10 pieces. You literally can have just one shirt. It's great. All right. Okay, so that was a little long-winded, but now we have taken away all of those misconceptions, hopefully, and we've thrown them all in the trash can and removed them from your brains. So now we can start with, okay, well, what actually is Menhera? So here on this side, I've got this lovely photo done by Hoshi Candy, who originally did this for the K-Club zine, showing kind of an updated anatomy of Menhera. So she's got oversized top, a loose ball gag that's not being worn on the mouth. It's being worn as a necklace, thigh highs, platform shoes that are comfy, simple hairstyling. So you can see Menhera art, flat shoes, not a lot of accessories. Pretty simple. There is not a strict silhouette for Menhera like there is for other styles, but the silhouette that Hoshi has drawn is what you more typically see. The important part is just, though, that the clothes are loose-fitting, they're accessible, easy to wear, they're simple. If you're wearing accessories, usually you're wearing only a few accessories, and you typically want your accessories to match the theme of your outfit. So I'm wearing my Anxiety Angel shirt today, and I decided to wear my demon horns because I thought it would be funny to contrast the demon horns with the angel theme. And so that's kind of how I've tied that in. And typically when you're wearing Menhera with Menhera accessories, you're going to want to try and theme those accessories. So less accessories, but more meaningful choices of accessories. And yes, mental health, chronic health motifs, that can be anything. It can be any sort of event. There's a lot of LGBT prints that are done in Japan, since Japan is extremely homophobic, and being LGBT in Japan causes, you get a lot of stress from it. So a lot of cool vent art about that. A lot of options, lots and lots of options. Oops, so here I've got some examples of some comfy Menhera adjacent Yume Kawaii cords that are done in the right kind of styling. So this is Cupcake Vice. She does basically all my favorite Menhera and Yume Kawaii cords. She does them. She's very consistent. Every single cord she does is golden. I love it. I love it. Love it. And you can see it's very simple. It's not overstyled. It's not like elaborate. So she only has like 500 followers, even though she's one of my favorite casual street fashion people. So very simple style, very comfy. Oh, and another thing I love about her outfits is because she takes the train in to go everywhere. Her outfits often have dual purpose. So here you can see her outfit. She's got many layers. So when she's cold, she's got the jacket, she's got the face mask for wearing in the train. When she got to the convention, she can take that hoodie back off if she needs to. Though no more conventions right now, but maybe in the future we can travel and think about two-part outfits again. Right. So Menhera versus Yami Kawaii. These words get thrown around a lot. Sometimes they mean the same thing, sometimes they don't. Well, here is the distinction for you. Yami Kawaii is using cute and kawaii motifs to address dark topics. So it doesn't necessarily have to be vent art. It doesn't necessarily have to be like you expressing something. It can be kind of like quote unquote edgelordish, where you've made like a kawaii knife. Like that can be Yami Kawaii, even if it's not a vent art under the definition of Yami Kawaii. Menhera, on the other hand, Menhera first and foremost describes the whole activism community of Japan. So that Menhera is a whole big circle, and the fashion is just a small part of that circle. The main part of Menhera is actually the community and the activism movement that the community does. So fashion is just a little bit of it. This is partially why people get a lot more touchy about how you use the word Menhera and what is allowed in the fashion, because it's not a fashion first and foremost. The fashion evolved out of the community. So when you've got coordinates, though, often your coordinate will be Menhera and Yami Kawaii, and sometimes it'll be one or the other. As far as describing your coordinates, typically you can use both. In Japan, they don't get quite as hung up on having very specific words as we do in the West, so you have a little bit more of a freedom there. But it's just always important when you are going to use the word Menhera to remember Menhera first, and I'm describing a community of people first and foremost, and be aware of that when you're doing the fashion part of it. So one more distinction for you: Menhera styling, like actually Menhera outfit versus Menhera inspired. Again, Menhera is about accessibility first. So it needs to be comfy, it needs to be casual, it needs to be fairly simple. So here I've got two different people wearing kind of the same garments, but one is wearing a Menhera outfit where the other one is more Menhera inspired. And mind you, one is not better than the other. There's nothing wrong with doing Menhera inspired. Just keep in mind, keeping in mind the accessibility aspect of it. It's saying, I'm looking to Menhera for inspiration, but I'm still creating my own self-expression that doesn't fit neatly into the style. And that's totally fine. Like this photo of Toshi is from a photo shoot me and her did together. And we purposely wanted a more exaggerated styling because this was for an art book. And the art book was about disassociation. So it was a Menhera art book. She became a Menhera art, even though she's not wearing a Menhera coordinate. And on that, the difference between Menhera art and the fashion itself. So the art, like the thing that is on the shirt itself, that is the art. It does not have to be any particular style, any particular colors. The character doesn't have to be Menhera, like wearing Menhera fashion themselves. Like this character is not wearing anything. Just sadness. But it's a vent art piece, so it is Menhera art. Now, when I take that art and I put it on a shirt and I do a comfy casual outfit with it, I've made a Menhera coordinate around the art. So those are kind of the distinctions. You don't really have to worry too hard about these, but just kind of that'll help you understand inherently when Menhera is applied and when it's not applied. That makes sense. So hopefully all of that was understandable. All right, so here I'm going to do a little bit of a content warning. On this slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-harm. So if that is something you find triggering, mute me until I am off the slide. So I'll give you a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute me if you do not want to hear me talk about that. And you will know to unmute when I transition to the next slide. All right, so with that out of the way, Menhera can be triggering. I know a lot of people like to say Menhera is never triggering. You're not supposed to feature triggering stuff in your art, but that's not true. Vent art is vent art, and sometimes it can be triggering. You are addressing serious topics sometimes, like my shirt here has text on it that says, "I hate myself and I want to die," repeating. And the point of that text is not, I don't actually hate myself and I don't want to die, but I have intrusive thoughts. And those intrusive thoughts are that phrase just kind of repeating forever. And my vent art is me kind of putting that out there and just saying, like, I don't actually feel this way. It doesn't really bother me that much, but it's always kind of just there in the background. So that's my vent art and why it's there. However, reading those words can be triggering for people who may have very seriously considered that ideation. And that's kind of a balance between, like, I am vent arting, but also am I being mindful of those around me? And Menhera is not always going to be 100% family friendly, safe, because it's serious topics, it's vent art. We want to be able to really properly, like, we don't want to sugarcoat things. We don't want to candy coat our problems. That's not what Menhera is about. Menhera is about, like, presenting everything kind of as it is so that we can healthily deal with it in an appropriate way. And so I hope that helps. One thing I would like to specifically bring out is self-harm scars. I do not consider that I feel like they should not be considered triggering, because self-harm scars are real things that real people live with, and people should not have to, like, cover themselves up just because they have scars. I think that we should do more to kind of just like how some people have moles, some people have, I don't know, facial hair, some people have self-harm scars, and it should be something that's just a little bit less, like, I feel like it should not be inherently triggering. Photos of active self-harm are a big no-no. So no, I hate that people will tag that as Menhera. It drives me mad because then it puts triggering content when people who are part of the Menhera community are just trying to look at art. But active self-harm depictions, photos, no. Art depictions of self-harm as part of event art piece, sometimes they're fine. You see this a lot more in OG Japanese art as well. It's like, again, not gore for a reason, for a purpose, not for gore's sake. And it's important to keep that in mind. So one of the reasons, Menhera is not for everyone in this case, because yes, some of it can be triggering. But one of the nice things with it being online is if you think it's going to trigger someone, it doesn't make it not Menhera. You could maybe put a content warning on it, just like I did for this slide. And it's not like it's so why do I say it's okay that Menhera is sometimes triggering? Well, part of the point of Menhera is to take our vent piece and when we walk out in the world, neurotypicals see us and the general public sees us, and we are taking our whatever we want to bring awareness to, and we're saying, look, stop ignoring it. This is a problem. This is something that's happening, and we need to talk about it. This is a huge deal in Japan. It's a big deal here too, but even more so in Japan, that is really kind of even behind us as far as mental health and chronic health issues go, is that people like to pretend that depression isn't a problem, suicide isn't a problem. Everybody just look cute and be perfect and pretend like everything is fine. Don't fix your problems. We're not going to talk about these problems. Big denial. And Menhera is a little bit shocking on purpose because it wants to engage these people and say, hey, no, we are not going to ignore this problem. We need to talk about it as a community. We need to address it. We need to be able to provide resources for these people. So there is a point to the triggering. It is not edgy to be edgy's sake. It is not to upset people, but it is to overall engage the community, engage the public, and better social mental health support and chronic illness health support for everyone. So big picture there. So I don't know if, oh, I can hide it. Look at that. Thank you. Sorry about that. Taken me 500 years to realize I could just click the hide button on that. All right. So next slide, we have moved past my content warning slide and on to everything else. One more caveat, medical motifs do not equal Menhera. These are lovely photos by my friend Grey Velvet. He's doing some cool Iryoke coordinates and Guro Kawaii coordinates. Very cool, but not Menhera just because they feature medical motifs. Oh, and by the way, all of the photos in this slide show are used with permission or are like promotional photos because I can't ask the Japanese people for permission directly because I don't know Japanese. But yes, all the photos you see are, I got permission. That also means that I know personally most of these people because those are the people I could ask for permission. So disclaimer there. All right, so I hope this is the last caveat slide. I had to put a lot of these in there. People just, there's so much confusion, and there's a lot of reasons for why there are confusion, but there just is. So again, no such thing as Menhera makeup. So here is my beautiful friend Daniel in a fantastic Guro Kawaii coordinate themed around eyeballs. Love it, fantastic, beautiful, not Menhera makeup. And you know, he was not tagging this as Menhera. He was aiming for a fantastic eyeball Guro Kawaii coordinate, but I opted to use his picture, one, because I know him and I know I can ask him, he didn't mind, and two, because it's very analogous to some things that get mistagged as Menhera. So it just still gives you the idea without me like calling out somebody in a not fun way. So here you've got a picture of me and a picture of one of our activity moderators in the Menhera chat box wearing light makeup, simple makeup with our cute Menhera coordinates. So you don't even have to wear makeup with Menhera. I love that. I'm bad at makeup. I'm very bad at it. I don't know what I'm doing. But Menhera is just like, yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah, you got baggy eyes. Well, that actually goes with your very tired coordinates. So congratulations. Yep. So while there is no such thing as Menhera makeup, a lot of people like to do Byojaku makeup with their Menhera looks. You'll see this in Lolita as well a lot. It's just kind of this under eye look. Byojaku meaning kind of like sickly. So the idea is to like kind of look like you were just crying. You're very adorable and cute, and you're crying, and your eyes are all puffy now, or you had a cold and your eyes and cheeks are puffy. It's a cute makeup style. I like it a lot. Not necessary again, but if you are looking for something to experiment with, to play with, here's a good style for you. Yeah, and again, makeup style. This makeup style is not limited to Menhera. Love seeing it in Gothic coordinates. Oh, so beautiful. And so I added this slide in because Menhera does not have many rules. The one rule of Menhera is accessibility comes first. And for some reason, people get so mad when you say you have to keep makeup light in Menhera. And they're like, the reason is because the default of Menhera is to be accessibility friendly. The default needs to be doable by most people who are chronically ill and may have physical disability. They can't do makeup. They're like someone mentioned in the comments, you have a skin problem. You can't put makeup on your face because it's going to aggravate your skin. The default of Menhera needs to be for these people. Other fashions, you are kind of other if you are doing something for a disability, like Lolita, for example. If you're not wearing a petticoat because you're in a wheelchair, while everyone is okay with that because that's fine, that is, you did have to modify, quote unquote, modify the silhouette, and it makes you feel like you have to be othered out of the style a little bit to fit in. Menhera is not like that. Menhera is about people who have physical disability and chronic illness first. So the basic default style needs to be accessible for everyone. This is extremely important. And Menhera is the only Japanese street fashion that's really like this, and we really want to keep it that way because there's so many styles you can experiment with and you can be a part of, but there needs to be one that, for at least one, that's accessibility first. So for like a personal example of this, I've developed chronic pain issues within the last year and a half, and one thing that's been like really making me upset about it is my ability to no longer wear all of the nice clothes I have. Like, I feel like I spent all of this time finally building a beautiful wardrobe, and now I can't wear 90% of my wardrobe. Like, why? But because Menhera was about accessibility first, I can still wear all of my Menhera outfits, and I can wear my Menhera clothing. And I had accidentally kind of future-proofed my Menhera wardrobe just because Menhera was inherently accessibility first. And that is one example of why this is important. And there are so many people in the Menhera community who have similar stories or got into Menhera because it was the only style they could really wear without having to modify it that worked for whatever their ability was. So this is why it's important. And this is like, even if it's not difficult for you to wear makeup, even if you normally wear makeup, this is why we tone it back down for Menhera. Nice, the makeup look I was naturally born with. I like that. And so just to be clear, you can self-express with makeup. You can make vent art with makeup. The Living Doll community is a fantastic example of that. And Toshi will be doing a panel on that later today, I believe. You can ask her lots of Toshi is like amazing to talk to about the Living Doll community. You should absolutely ask her questions about it. She is very passionate and she is very good at explaining things to you. So if you are somebody, like when you are looking to make your self-expression journey, to make your fashion vent art, you shouldn't be saying, oh, it has to be Menhera. You should be saying, how can I express myself in a way that feels true to me? And then later go and find out what style works with how you want to express yourself. Like, you don't have to be Menhera to self-express. And you shouldn't try to force yourself into that box if that's not how you want to self-express. And so just Menhera does not have a monopoly on self-expression in art. That would be very silly. And I'd like to recommend to you, if you are somebody who wants to express more with makeup, Living Doll community is amazing. Kawaii is another good style if you like going a little bit more in the like full makeup, bright colors, and edgy. If you're okay, is more of that kind of like blood medical. There's also Meta Kawaii. You can do a Menhera inspired look. You can do medical decora. Shiranuri is also very rooted in using your face as a canvas to self-express. So there are lots of styles you can self-express in with makeup. Especially because I do know some people with chronic illness, makeup is the only thing they can do. So for that, highly recommend the Living Doll community. A lot of people in that community who turn to makeup as self-expression because they were unable to do other things to self-express. So don't feel like you have to be Menhera to express yourself. Me saying you can't do heavy makeup in Menhera doesn't mean that you can't express yourself with makeup. It just means that you may want to try out a different style. That's all. All right. So, oof. Oh, I'm going to take a drink of tea first so I can hear. I'm actually doing all right on time. That's good. I added like 10 slides. All right. So Menhera icons and brands. I do have a couple of caveats here as well. Menhera is very much about indie and DIY. Most people who do Menhera art are Menhera themselves, meaning they have chronic illness, they have mental health issues. They can't be running a shop like a brand 24/7 at all times. Sometimes they pop up and do like 12 resin pieces and then disappear into the ether. Like that's just how Menhera is. And because of that, it's kind of difficult to keep track of Menhera icons and brands, aside from like a few that have become very well known. And it's also hard for us as Westerners to necessarily see all of the Japanese brands. So this is tinged by that. However, FY Menhera, which I will talk about more later, FY Menhera does a very good job of keeping track of all of these smaller indie, Japanese, and otherwise icons and brands. So if you are interested in those tiny places, I will give you links to that resource so you can track that as well, even though I don't necessarily talk about them as much. All right, so first, kawaii yasumi. Kawaii yasumi popularized what is kind of seen as the standard silhouette for Menhera and Yume Kawaii, the most popular silhouette being that oversized top or dress with the thigh highs and the artwork, or like the inch of skirt peeking out under your hoodie. Kawaii Yasumi popularized that, and she is a designer in Japan, does amazing, gorgeous, oh, look how beautiful, so beautiful. I love her work. She does a lot of pieces that clash kind of innocence with stressful situations. Very cool stuff. Love it. And while there is nobody who is the creator of Menhera, because Menhera evolved out of the community, kawaii yasumi can be considered somebody who did create a lot of the common stylings. Next up, Menhera-chan. If you've only heard one thing about Menhera, you've heard about Menhera-chan. That's it. If you've heard nothing about Menhera, you also have probably heard about Menhera-chan. Menhera-chan and her friends are part of a manga that is a satire of the Magical Girl series. It's very cute. The idea behind it was Izaki Bizoko, the creator, who I'll talk about a little bit more later, was sick of seeing people use kawaii culture to hide and to avoid dealing with their issues. Like there's a idea in Japan that if you are cute and you're kawaii and you dress nicely and you look beautiful, then you must have no problems in your life and you must have no mental health issues and you're perfectly neurotypical and able to do everything, which, as we all know, is nonsense. You can look any way and still suffer from mental health and chronic health issues, and sometimes very serious issues, even if you are beautiful, temporarily beautiful. So Izaki created Menhera-chan as a way to he wanted to take all of those cute magical girl kawaii motifs and satirize them with the dark Menhera themes of wrist cutting, all of this, and say, look, I've taken your cute motifs and I put these dark topics in there, and now you have to look at them. You can't avoid them. You have to deal with your problems. So it was a real vent piece, like real vent art coming out of Izaki Bizoko. And even though he was not part of the Menhera community when he created this, and he was using the more popular Japanese, like the general public Japanese, when they hear Menhera, they think of only like the bad stereotype of Menhera. They don't understand that it was a word created by the neutral mental health community to self-describe. But since his art was a genuine vent piece, it resonated a lot with the Menhera community. So, and this is Izaki Bizoko. He has popularized and made Menhera more accessible in a lot of ways because he has done collaborations with brands that are more accessible, such as AC/DC Rag, brands like Listen Flavor, who have brought his artwork overseas, and things. And he is a gay man who lives in Japan, so he has to deal with that homophobia. However, he is not part of the Menhera community, and he is not a spokesperson for the Menhera community, nor did he invent Menhera or yami kawaii, even though sometimes he likes to pretend that he did. So, Zaki Bizoko, extremely talented guy, real person with real health issues, not a Menhera spokesperson. Please don't listen to him when he says wrong things about Menhera, because he does that. So I have to address some of his controversy. He has spread harmful information. I want to say that it is more out of ignorance than out of purposely trying to be harmful. However, he had trademarked his spelling of the word yami kawaii, and has issued him or people working for him have issued takedowns against indies using yami kawaii, which is like if I copyrighted goth and then went after everyone who used the word goth. That's kind of the level there. And he's reacted kind of poorly to being criticized for this. Like you can see, he's drawn the characters in a tank, running over people criticizing him. So not great. Yeah. So to caveat this, like he's not somebody who's harassed people. He's not like a bad person in that sense. He just has said some wrong things about Menhera. So, feel free to enjoy Menhera-chan and his work. But please don't listen to him when he says things like Menhera is a bad word or something. That's all. That's all I want you to get out of that. So, attention goths, you must now all pay Puvi money. Well, I mean, some of them do, I guess. Oh, yes. Thank you, goths of the world. Next most popular Menhera-chan, we've kind of nicknamed her Brown Hair Menhera-chan, though she's also just called Menhera-chan. Again, calling something Menhera-chan is like calling a goth girl. Nobody owns the phrase. It's not like it's a generic phrase. It's fine. This Menhera-chan is written to be more of a slice of life Menhera-chan, and kind of shows an interactions of a Menhera-chan character with her little brother. So it's kind of cute. I like it. Very popular in China. There is an English translation for part of it online now. So you'll see, if you look up Menhera-chan and you see a brown hair character, or you see like Pixiv icons and you're like, what is this? This is the character. So this is created by Pomu. You can follow them on Twitter, and I recommend you do. Lots of cool stuff up there. And I really love this image. This used to be the image on their website where it's just brown hair Menhera-chan just laying on the floor being sad. And I feel like I have been there. I have been in that exact position. I'm sure other people have been in that exact position. It's a very relatable Menhera-chan. A couple of you are lagging, I see. Well, this will be recorded and available online immediately on Twitch under videos, and then later on YouTube. So worst case, you should be able to watch it later. Oh, there we go. And so this is the oldest Menhera-chan comic series that the Western Menhera community could find. Dates back to 2012. It is suggested that this is the same Menhera-chan as Pomu's Menhera-chan, but we cannot confirm that because there's no there's other than a bunch of similarities and coincidences. There's no hardcore evidence. And you might say that, oh, but this is obviously written by somebody else. It has a different name. Well, actually, in Japan, artists will take different names. Will take an artist name, and they may change their artist name through different periods of their life when they are changing art styles. So it's entirely possible that Kotoha Toku was Pomu's old art name, but we don't know that. None of us know Pomu to ask her. It's just a theory. For example, Izaki Bizoko is not Izaki Bizoko's name. That is his artist name. It's a cool thing. Cool Japanese designer culture thing. And here's some, I recently found the English translation for this. I love this. It features like a normie character, this dark-haired boy over here, interacting with a Menhera-chan and a Byojaku-chan. And Menhera-chan is like what you kind of think of as Menhera-chan, somebody with a lot of mental health issues. And Byojaku-chan is somebody who is very sickly, is getting sick all the time, has chronic illness, all this. So here's their panels from the manga where it's introducing them. And you can see that the boy character is trying to encourage Menhera-chan to do more fun activities, and she has like anxiety responses to everything, which I feel. Whereas Byojaku-chan over here is very happy, normal, and good at interacting, but then you can see that she's got like 30 different pills she has to take, and she's got bandages because she got hurt again, and is in slippers because she had to stay home and got sick. See, the boy is bringing her homework because she was too sick to go to the school. Kind of interesting. Also, I like the little note on her is she's like really upbeat and happy all the time, and she like looks pretty healthy, right? But she isn't. Like she's got all of these things she has to take every day, and I like that kind of contrast being addressed, since a lot of real people also have to deal with that, not looking sick despite being sick. Good stuff. All right, so now I'm going to get into some of the brands. This is Nemutai. It's a brand that's been around a long time that does a lot of what I call the OG Japanese Menhera, which is to say black and white with an accent color, typically red, a lot more focus on nooses and the theme of suicide. I like this style a lot. My work is heavily inspired by this sort of style, as you can probably tell. Good stuff. They were also one of the brands that you were able to get out of Japan, since they sold through Village Vanguard, which I believe is UK based. And they've done collabs with Izaki Bizoko before as well. So this one is a little bit more on the Menhera inspired and Menhera and the vent art on other clothing sense than like strictly Menhera. But this is my favorite Japanese designer, Blah Blah Hospital. They do this fantastic, de-stressed, like really punkish looking stuff with screen print and hand-drawn vent text all over it. Oh, I love it. It's my favorite thing. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. So now you can see if you like this sort of thing too. Here you go. All right, so these are the most popular Menhera icons from the West, Parfum and Lavender. They are twins who work in a medically themed maid cafe and volunteer at a hospital. Unfortunately, the artist no longer draws Parfum and Lavender for reasons I'll get into. But I think they're still very well known and very beloved by the Menhera community in the West as a whole. Yes, and some of this artist's work, previously known as Cherry Cheesy, she produced a lot of the Menhera in the West. If you see a Menhera outfit today, 95% chance that the thigh highs they are wearing are from Cherry Cheesy, like straight up. Everybody has them. The reason why Westerners got Menhera, particularly in the States, is because Cherry Cheesy was producing it. However, as is common for many Menhera designers, she has moved on in her artistic journey to doing different work, and no longer designs for clothing and no longer designs for Menhera, which is sad. But also, like, that's kind of how it works, you know. Artists, you don't typically stay a Menhera artist forever. Typically, an artist may have a period of time where they get really interested in Menhera and make some Menhera products, or they do Menhera for a long time, but then as an artist, their style changes, or maybe they've like vent arted out everything they needed to vent art out and are ready to move on. And that's just part of Menhera and part of art in general. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's why it's also important when you see something you like, indeed in Menhera that you like, even like Menhera Chan, something you like support it, and buy whatever of it you can at that moment, because it's not going to be there forever. And and that's sad, but I also think that's something that makes Menhera beautiful. Is when I buy a Menhera piece, I have a piece of that artist's Menhera journey with me, and I still have that history even when they continue on in their journey. So that's how it goes. Yeah, I think her new stuff is good. I'm really excited. She's working on a video game. I'm really excited for that. And I'm really excited too that she is happy doing the artwork she's doing now. And you can tell her art skill has increased too. So all good stuff. Right. So another Western one, Menhera, a little less well known, more known in the UK. This character kind of evolved out of a meme of community members often owning hamsters and having interest in hamsters. in the Menhera Discord, the Menhera Discord an emoji set that was Menhera themed. It was very cute. So a lot less well known, but I like to bring it up because I think Menhera is adorable. But yes, cute stuff. Similarly, the artist Hoshi Candy has moved past kind of this stage of her artwork and has started designing more like very solid Yumekawa stuff. I think it's Cherry Pop is her Instagram. If somebody wants to find that link for me, you can do it faster than me. No, it's Cherry Crush now. I think there's a Cherry Pop and a Cherry Crush. Something cherry. I hear it. Cherry Crush XO. That's what it is now. She also has a Ludes Twitter. If you're old enough for that. Like art Ludes. Or semi-Lude. I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. I'm old. This is Hoshi Candy / Hoshi Dreams, who is the artist behind Menhera. They are a Yumekawa designer and VTuber, but they still blog about Menhera and Menhera-related things sometimes, and will post really thoughtful think pieces and clarifications on Menhera. A lot of the information I'm talking to you right now is actually resulting from research or discussions with Hoshi. She knows a lot. She knows Japanese, unlike me. She lives in Japan, even. Cool stuff. And if you're looking during our time of no fun 2020, if you're looking for more Twitch streamers to follow, highly recommend following Hoshi Dreams. She does Yumekawa art, very aesthetic, very cute, very good. Early, kind of late in the night for us on the Eastern side, but you Pacific time zone people can catch her. Oh yeah, I see somebody mentioning Bitterbat's lewd Gura art. Yes, I have one of her prints back there. It's cute stuff. It's a funny thing. A lot of the Menhera artists tend to like to also do the lewd gore stuff. Go figure. So Zombie Unicorn. This is a polymer clay artist based in Poland. Just like how 95% of the time, if you see a Menhera coordinate in the West, they're probably wearing Cherry Pop's tights. They're also probably wearing a Zombie Unicorn hair clip. Probably exactly a Zombie Unicorn polymer Band-Aid hair clip. Like 90% of the time, it's there. And the reason for this is, besides the fact that everything is so freaking adorable, they have been consistent and open for a long time with good quality work. So again, like I said before, a lot of Menhera designers pop up, do like 2 batches of resin stuff and disappear, or maybe do like a couple dozen resin pieces in a year, like with one shop update, and then you don't see them. It's very difficult to kind of get consistent Menhera accessories from someone who remains interested in that style. And Zombie Unicorn has filled that hole for a lot of people. So very good stuff. They do commissions sometimes. I really like these large pill pendants that she did. They are vent pieces. You can see there's like a love side of the pill and a hurt side of the pill, where one side of the text has like the positives and the other side has the negatives. Super cute stuff. Love it, love it, love it. And I think her stuff's pretty affordable, so very good. If you're like looking to start out with a good accessory that you will get a lot of use out of, and I believe it holds its resale value too pretty well. If you do decide to get rid of it for some reason, go give Zombie Unicorn your money. Right. Otaku. They're another good one here in the West. They are not strictly a Menhera designer, though they often do a lot of Yume Kawaii, Yami Kawaii, and Menhera themes in their work. They focus more on the lighter, happy side of Menhera, so a lot more positives, a lot more of that destigmatization. So here you can see the cool thigh highs that are take your meds, but it's all super cute and lovely with kind of destigmatizing that that medication, destigmatizing having to take your meds every day, and normalizing it, being like, yeah, everybody has meds to take every day. That's why I made thigh highs about it. So very cool, very good brand for that. And it is otaku. It's a joke. It's like otaku, but it's otaku. For everybody who keeps mispronouncing it. Oh, it's a good pun. This is Callie, the designer behind the brand. Callie's been active in the JFashion community for a long time, long before they started making clothing. They became interested in Menhera after having a brush with death where they were in the hospital for some times and were just surrounded by medical equipment and wanted and kind of just were like, can I draw that and make it cute? Because they were stuck in a hospital bed, nothing else they could do. They are also one of the founders of K Club, including the K Club zine, which is fantastic, very lovely. If there are still physical copies to get, you should buy one. If there are not, you can get the digital copy of it online right now. High production value, very cool stuff. What is my time? Oh, okay, I have like 5 minutes left. Look at me. It's okay. That's why we put 15 minutes of buffer time between every panel. And then there's me. Hi, I'm Puvithel. My shop motto has always been that I believe fashion can help people in like very evident, beneficial ways. I've been active in the Menhera online communities for some while. Like I think it's 4 years, 3.5 years now, maybe. Jeez, I don't know, maybe something like that. And I kind of made it my goal to spread awareness of Menhera wherever I go. When events have me as a guest, I request that they let me do my Menhera panel at every convention so that I can teach more people about it. I personally seeing Menhera, I had a time in my life where I needed to be on medication and I really put it off until the situation was dire, at just 100% because of the negative stigma of medication. And if I had known about Menhera at that time, I think I might have overcome that stigma earlier, and that would have been hugely beneficial to my life. I still ended up okay, of course. That's why I'm here. But I could have struggled less if I had had something like Menhera that destigmatized that for me. So my hope is by spreading Menhera around and letting people know that it's an option, maybe instead of people finding out too late, maybe I can help somebody who was in that situation I'm in learn about Menhera right now, and maybe that can be helpful for them. So that's why I'm here. Right, I'm going to take these off because they are bothering me. All right, there you go. So some Menhera resources. It can be kind of difficult to find Menhera resources on the web because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Additionally, the algorithms of search medias, of social medias, of everything tend to favor stuff that's like loud and elaborate, and Menhera is a simple style. So Menhera, the true Menhera, doesn't get promoted on those algorithms as even though it's, you know, the real facts, but that's just kind of how the world is now. So number one resource is menhera.jp. This is the OG Menhera. This is what Menhera is about. The fashion is secondary to this. And they post a lot of articles and discussions on mental health. A lot of users who write different like articles about something that happened in their life, dealing with a mental health, chronic health issue. Very cool. There's forums on there where they talk. They also sometimes rally to do different activism. Like a couple years ago, they did a whole campaign to get fake health websites taken down that were improperly listing LGBT as mental illness. So they were very successful with that. Got a lot of those fake crappy sites taken down. Very cool stuff. Very cool. So again, this is Menhera. That is Menhera. And you're like, that doesn't look cute or artsy, but that is Menhera. That is the Menhera community. Boop. So you're like, okay, well, that's great. I'm glad that exists, but I am really more interested in the fashion. And if that's the case, here you are, FY Menhera. FY Menhera is the English source for Menhera. They are very accurate. They are very fact-checked. I do not know Japanese, but they are run by people who know Japanese very well and understand the culture very well, and have been interested in Menhera and other styles for like as long as they've existed. So if you have a question, this is where you go. If you want to keep up with what's happening in Japan, this is where you go. So this is your number one most reliable English source for Menhera. A lot of, again, what I've said that is not from Hoshi or my own research, as most of it is from FY Menhera. And I keep a running shop list, which can be great because it can be hard to find those shops because they keep popping up and disappearing again. Right. Some other online communities. I run 2 Facebook groups. They're not named this anymore. I forgot to fix this slide. They are named Menhera Chatbox and Menhera Updates. If you want to join, these are the 2 Facebook communities. The Japanese community is active on Twitter. You can engage with them if you use the hashtags. I don't know how to use Twitter, and I don't know Japanese, so I have not done that. But other members of the Menhera community have. There is a Menhera Discord. I should have prepared a link for it, but I didn't. But if you go to FY Menhera, I believe there is a Discord link on FY Menhera's page. And there was a small 4chan community. I don't really know what happened to it. I think they all migrated to the Discord. I haven't really been on 4chan in a while either, so I'm not even up to date. Maybe somebody will know better than me. But yeah, these are the English communities for you. As far as like in-person communities, the Menhera community is very small. There are a few pockets of a few people. Texas community has a few people. Pittsburgh community has a few people. UK has enough people that they can actually do a physical meet of like 6 or 7, and 6 or 7 people will show up during non-pandemic times, of course. Finland has like 4 people in the whole country. It's not a big style. But the people who are part of the style are very passionate, and there are lots of people who are like, somebody mentioned doing Menhera-inspired Lolita. There's lots and lots of people who do coordinates like that, who keep up to date and interact with the community. Same like Menhera-inspired Decora, I see a lot, and I see a lot of people in the Fairy K and Yumikawa communities who also like to interact and keep up to date with Menhera. So lots of stuff. One day we'll be able to meet and have a meet with like a dozen Menhera people. It'll happen. All right, so any questions? I think I can eat up exactly ended at 2:45, so I'm going to use a little bit of my buffer time for questions, if anybody has any. So here's one. Have I seen any changes in the Menhera community fashion due to COVID? So not really. Most of the Menhera community, again, they're in their houses or doing their own kind of personal thing. I have seen a lot more people get a little braver about posting their in-house coordinates. And I have seen more people kind of get interested into Menhera. One thing I thought was funny is I sell face masks, and I've sold face masks for a long time. I made them for the Menhera community because Menhera like to have something to wear at cons and on the bus and on the airplanes, because a lot of them are immunocompromised, or they're just kind of more aware of disease themselves, and they like to like have something cute to wear. So hilariously, now everybody has those and is doing that. And the Menhera community has been like quietly over in the back, like, ha, we were prepared. So no, it doesn't, that wasn't quite relevant to your question, but I find it interesting. Here's this. So here, how do I navigate people asking if I'm okay? I don't have the energy to educate people on mental health. So I'd like to say, while Menhera, wearing Menhera can be challenging to the public, you do not owe anybody an explanation. Yes, people may ask you questions. You can say something simple like, "Oh no, I'm fine. I just like this artwork, or I just support the message that this artwork has." But I don't really feel like talking about it in more detail, or even if it's like somebody you don't know and you're walking somewhere, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on my way to something. I can't talk right now," and you just go. You don't owe anybody an answer about these things. And one thing I like about Menhera, and I think a lot of other people like about Menhera, is it's a way to get your story out there without having to put it into words. So like, if you meet me on the street and ask me about my intrusive thoughts, I'm going to be like, what intrusive thoughts? I don't know you, go away. Even though I'm wearing them on my shirt. But it allows me to get that venting out without having to necessarily discourse about it. There will be people who are going to be in your face about it, and you don't owe them anything, especially if they're strangers. If they're people personal in your life, like close friends, close family members who you trust, I do think it would build your relationship to have a conversation with them about it when you are in a place that you are ready to do that. You can tell these people as well, like, so it's like, well, it's a bit complicated, and I would like to have a conversation with you about it, but right now I don't have the energy for it. Maybe sometime later. Totally reasonable response to give to people. If you want to talk about Menhera in general, maybe you just link them to FY Menhera and then like run, let them read. Whoops, let me make sure I didn't miss anything before I get to that one. Okay, good. So is there a secondhand community for Menhera or yami kawaii? So the Facebook community, Menhera chat box, you are allowed to sell secondhand in there. I haven't seen a lot of people buying and selling secondhand in there, but you are allowed to. You can use that platform. I have seen some stuff pop up on Depop, and then in the Discord as well. But yeah, doesn't hurt to go into Menhera chat box and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this. Does somebody know where it is?" And we'll at least have some information for you. Somebody posted the other day looking for these Menhera-chan fans, and we were able to tell them, "Oh, that's an item from 3 years ago that was sold exclusively by Izaki Bizoko. Good luck finding that." So we didn't find them the item, but at least now they like know where the item's from. So it's worth a try. Somebody mentions that there is a K circily. I can't pronounce words. CIRCILLY that is growing slowly, like Lace Market. So that's something to look into. I should probably look into that too. Oh, I skipped this one. I'm sorry. What kind of themes do you want to see more of in Menhera art scene and community, just personally? It's a good question. I guess I've just been kind of like making stuff when I want to see it. I've seen a lot of people with physical issues want to see themselves represented more in art. So I would like to see more of that for them too. Maybe some like really specific illness art I would like to see more of, more than just like general sick or general depression. I would like to see more art based on like women's pain, because that's been close to my heart lately. I will eventually make some art of that myself when I feel like it, but like there seems to be a very common thought among women in the Menhera or Menhera adjacent communities that are like, fuck the uterus. So I would like to see some like fuck the uterus art, just like stop hurting me, uterus, please, thank you. That would be nice. That's very specific. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, are there any more questions? If not, I may I may go back into the commercial break. Oh, I see someone saying, cracks me up. Menhera was prepared to COVID due to having masks on hand, and that your daughters already had your Japanese masks on hand. Yes, excellent. I had a bunch of masks from fashion shows that I washed them and kept them for my own personal use, but they'd really just been kind of sitting in a pile. So I just had 14 masks ready to go. I was like, oh, I guess I'll just use these. Whoops. All right. Well, I've eaten into the time a little bit, the buffer time a little bit. So I'm gonna head on out, and feel free to keep asking questions in the chat box, and I will answer as I can. And then we're gonna let it go into the next panel soon. So thank you all for watching me talk forever. I hope that was interesting. I hope you learned something. Please join our communities if you are interested in learning more. We love to have more people, and we love to hear more about your unique Menhera story. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Bye, everybody.